Hey gamers, welcome back. Today we're diving into a list of 20 games that are absolute masterpieces. Titles that pushed creative boundaries with amazing stories, gameplay, and visuals, but unfortunately flopped hard at launch. These games didn't get the recognition or sales they deserved, often because of bad timing, poor marketing, or just being way ahead of their time. If you love discovering hidden gems, make sure to watch till the very end because some of these will seriously blow your mind. Let's get into it. Psychonauts is a brilliantly creative platformer developed by Double Fine Studios. Released in 2005, you play as Rasputin, a young psychic who sneaks into a summer camp for gifted kids to train his powers and uncover dark secrets. The game's greatest strength lies in its surreal, imaginative levels that take place inside the minds of quirky characters, each one a wild, beautifully designed world with unique gameplay mechanics. The writing is sharp and hilarious with emotional depth that's rare in platformers. The art style is whimsical and timeless, blending cartoonish charm with a touch of the bizarre. Psychonauts manages to balance fun, exploration, and narrative with incredible finesse, making it stand out as one of the most inventive games of its generation. Why it failed? Despite glowing reviews, Psychonauts struggled commercially due to poor marketing and bad timing. Released in 2005, it got lost among blockbuster hits like Halo 2 and Resident Evil 4. Its quirky style and genre-defying gameplay confused many retailers and players, leading to weak shelf presence and low sales. The budget was tight, so Double Fine couldn't promote it properly. Additionally, platformers were fading in popularity, and the game didn't fit neatly into action or adventure categories. This caused many gamers to overlook it. Over time, word of mouth helped Psychonauts gain cult status. But unfortunately, this recognition came too late to save its initial launch. Its sequel, released years later, finally gave the franchise the spotlight it deserved. Beyond Good and Evil, released by Ubisoft in 2003, is an ambitious action-adventure that puts you in the shoes of Jade, a courageous photojournalist uncovering a government conspiracy on a distant planet. The game mixes stealth, combat, puzzle solving, and exploration in a rich, open world filled with memorable characters. Its cel-shaded graphics create a vibrant, comic book style that perfectly complements the sci-fi setting. The story tackles mature themes like political corruption, environmental destruction, and rebellion with emotional nuance rarely seen in games. Jade's strong, relatable character and the game's unique tone make Beyond Good and Evil stand out as a narrative-driven experience that's equal parts fun and thought-provoking. Why it failed? Despite critical acclaim, Beyond Good and Evil struggled commercially for several reasons. Its genre-blending gameplay confused audiences who expected either pure stealth or straightforward action, leaving some unsure what the game actually was. Ubisoft's marketing was limited and unfocused, failing to highlight the game's strengths or reach a broad audience. Its release timing near other blockbuster games further drowned it out. The mature themes, though praised, also made it a harder sell for younger gamers, limiting its mass appeal. Consequently, it sold poorly and didn't recoup its development costs. Nevertheless, its passionate fanbase kept hoping for a sequel, and finally, after years of anticipation, one was announced, validating the original's cult classic status. Valkyria Chronicles is a tactical RPG released by Sega in 2008. It's set in a fictional world resembling World War II Europe, where you lead a squad of misfit soldiers fighting against an overwhelming enemy force. What makes Valkyria Chronicles special is its unique Blitz system, a mix of turn-based strategy and real-time third-person shooting, allowing players to tactically position and control characters in battle. The game's watercolor-inspired graphics give it a storybook aesthetic, with each scene feeling like a moving painting. The story is emotionally charged, focusing on themes of friendship, sacrifice, and the horrors of war. The well-written characters and soundtrack enhance the immersive narrative, making it a standout in both the RPG and tactical genres. Why it failed? Despite glowing reviews, Valkyria Chronicles sold poorly outside Japan. Its release on the PlayStation 3, especially early in the console's lifecycle, limited its exposure. The game's hybrid gameplay confused some players expecting either a traditional RPG or a shooter, narrowing its appeal. Marketing efforts were limited, and the niche setting didn't attract the mainstream crowd. Additionally, turn-based strategy games have always struggled to achieve massive commercial success compared to action-heavy titles. Still, the game's loyal fanbase led to sequels and remasters, cementing its legacy as a cult classic tactical masterpiece. Eternal Darkness, released for the Nintendo GameCube in 2002, is a psychological horror game that is still ahead of its time. The game is famous for its innovative sanity meter, which causes the game to mess with the player's perception. From fake crashes to distorted visuals and sounds, making the horror experience deeply immersive. The story spans multiple centuries and characters, weaving an epic tale of ancient evil and dark magic. Its narrative complexity and atmosphere make it much more than a typical horror game. The combat and puzzles require skill and thought, and the multiple characters add depth to the gameplay. It's a rare game that blends psychological horror with engaging gameplay mechanics masterfully. Why it failed? Eternal Darkness's mature themes and slow pacing limited its audience, especially on the GameCube, which was mostly seen as a family-friendly console. Horror fans appreciated it, but the wider market was less receptive. The niche genre, combined with less mainstream appeal and minimal marketing, meant sales were weak. Additionally, the psychological elements confused or scared off some players used to jump scares or action-heavy horror. Despite the disappointing commercial performance, Eternal Darkness remains a cult classic and is often cited as one of the most innovative horror games ever made. Spec Ops: The Line, released in 2012, looks like a generic military shooter at first glance, but it's actually a deep, dark psychological thriller that subverts typical wargame tropes. Set in a devastated Dubai, players take on the role of Captain Martin Walker, leading a team into a sandstorm-ravaged city to find survivors. What makes Spec Ops exceptional is its brutal, morally ambiguous story that forces players to question their actions and the nature of war. It delivers shocking twists, emotional weight, and critical commentary on violence in video games. Its gameplay is solid, but the narrative is what sets it apart, making it a memorable and harrowing experience. Why it failed? Spec Ops was marketed as a straightforward shooter, which led to mismatched expectations. Players expecting a typical action-packed experience were surprised, even alienated, by its grim story and slow pacing. The mature themes were heavy and unsettling, making it less appealing to the mainstream shooter audience. It also launched amidst bigger, flashier shooters, which overshadowed it. The mismatch between marketing and content, combined with its dark tone, resulted in disappointing sales. However, critics praised its bold narrative, and it remains a cult favorite for storytelling fans. Grim Fandango, released by LucasArts in 1998, is a noir adventure game set in the land of the dead, blending Mexican Day of the Dead folklore with a detective story. You play Manny Calavera, a travel agent for souls, navigating a beautifully crafted world with unique characters, puzzles, and sharp writing. The art style combines 3D characters with hand-painted backgrounds, creating a visually stunning experience. Its witty, memorable dialogue and emotional storytelling set it apart from typical adventure games, creating a deeply immersive world that's both dark and humorous. Why it failed? Grim Fandango launched when adventure games were losing popularity to action and first-person shooters. Its complex puzzles and slow pacing alienated casual gamers. Additionally, the niche art style and cultural setting didn't resonate with a wide audience. Poor marketing and the rise of other genres led to weak sales. Despite this, Grim Fandango has become a cult classic, praised for its storytelling and art, and it was eventually remastered for new audiences. Deadly Premonition, released in 2010, is one of gaming's weirdest cult classics. It's a survival horror game with a bizarre mix of quirky characters, Twin Peaks-inspired mystery, and open-world exploration. The story centers on FBI agent Francis York Morgan, investigating a murder in a small town filled with strange residents and supernatural elements. The game's charm lies in its odd dialogue, surreal atmosphere, and offbeat humor. While the graphics and controls are rough, the narrative and unique tone make it unforgettable. Why it failed? Deadly Premonition's technical issues, dated visuals, and clunky gameplay turned off many players. Critics were divided, some loving its story and atmosphere while others criticized its rough execution. Its niche appeal and lack of polish hurt its commercial success. It also had limited marketing, and the unusual tone was polarizing. Despite this, it developed a passionate fanbase who appreciate its weirdness and storytelling, making it a beloved cult hit. The Wonderful 101, released for the Wii U in 2013, is a vibrant, energetic action game where players control a team of superheroes working together to fight alien invasions. The gameplay involves drawing shapes on the screen to combine characters and perform powerful attacks. The game's style is loud, colorful, and filled with humor, with a unique combat system that rewards creativity and quick thinking. Its story is playful but surprisingly emotional, with memorable characters and epic battles. Why it failed? The Wonderful 101's complex mechanics and frantic gameplay were intimidating for casual Wii U owners. The Wii U's limited user base also hurt sales. Poor marketing and the console's commercial struggles meant the game didn't reach enough players. Many gamers found the controls confusing or the story too weird, limiting mainstream appeal. Despite this, fans have campaigned for a sequel or remaster, praising it as an underrated gem with unique style and gameplay. Star Wars 1313 was a highly anticipated third-person action-adventure game focusing on Boba Fett navigating the criminal underworld of Coruscant. The game promised cinematic storytelling, stunning visuals, and mature themes, aiming to offer a gritty, fresh take on the Star Wars universe. Early trailers showcased incredible detail and immersive gameplay that excited fans worldwide. It was shaping up to be one of the most ambitious Star Wars games ever made. Unfortunately, Star Wars 1313 was canceled in 2013 after Disney acquired Lucasfilm and restructured its game development divisions. Despite the hype and promising early footage, corporate decisions to shift focus toward other projects killed the game before it could be completed or released. The cancellation left many fans disappointed and curious about what could have been one of the best Star Wars experiences ever. It remains a lost dream in gaming history, remembered mostly through trailers and concept art. Shenmue 2, released in 2001, continues the epic tale of Ryo Hazuki's quest for revenge in a highly detailed open world. The game pioneered realism and narrative depth, featuring day-night cycles, NPC schedules, and a living world filled with side quests, mini-games, and martial arts combat. It's part action-adventure, part life simulation, with a rich story influenced by Japanese culture and martial arts cinema. Shenmue 2 pushed the limits of what a game could be in terms of storytelling and world building. Shenmue 2 faced commercial challenges because it released late in the Dreamcast's life, when the console was already declining. It also came out on the original Xbox only in certain regions, limiting its reach. Its slow pace and niche appeal didn't attract mainstream gamers accustomed to faster gameplay. Marketing was limited, and its ambitious open-world design was ahead of its time but didn't immediately resonate with a broad audience. Despite low sales, Shenmue 2 is now recognized as a pioneer in immersive storytelling and open-world design. After nearly 17 years, Shenmue 3 was finally released in 2019, continuing Ryo's saga. Funded via Kickstarter, it retained the charm and depth of the originals, with detailed environments, martial arts combat, and a focus on narrative. It aimed to please longtime fans with its nostalgic gameplay loops and story continuation. Why it failed? Despite fan enthusiasm, Shenmue 3's outdated mechanics and graphics felt jarring compared to modern open-world games. The pacing was slow, and the story didn't expand enough to attract new players unfamiliar with the series. Its crowdfunding origins and niche appeal meant it lacked a broad marketing push. Critics were mixed, praising its faithfulness but noting it felt stuck in the past. The game didn't sell well enough to justify sequels, leaving fans wanting more but unsure if the series would continue. Alpha Protocol, released in 2010, is a spy RPG blending action, stealth, and role-playing elements. You play Michael Thornton, a secret agent navigating complex missions with branching dialogue choices and moral decisions that impact the story. The game aimed to combine the best of RPG storytelling with espionage action, featuring multiple endings and character customization. Its ambitious narrative and choice-driven gameplay stood out in a sea of linear shooters. Why it failed? Alpha Protocol suffered from technical issues, awkward controls, and uneven polish at launch. While its story and branching paths were praised, bugs and clunky gameplay frustrated players. The marketing failed to highlight its unique features, making it blend into the crowd of other shooters. Critics were divided, and poor word of mouth hurt sales. The ambitious design was ahead of its time, but ultimately marred by execution problems. It has since gained a cult following, but never achieved commercial success. Killer 7, released in 2005, is a surreal action-adventure from Suda51 known for its unique cel-shaded graphics, complex narrative, and distinctive gameplay, where players control 7 personalities of an assassin named Harmon Smith. The game blends on-rails shooting with puzzle-solving and heavy symbolism. Its dark, twisted story explores politics, identity, and conspiracies with a stylish presentation. The soundtrack and art direction are unforgettable. Why it failed? Killer 7 was polarizing due to its bizarre narrative and unconventional gameplay. Many players found it confusing and difficult to follow, which limited its appeal. Its niche style and heavy emphasis on story over action didn't attract mainstream gamers. Limited marketing and its release on niche consoles, GameCube and PS2, hurt visibility. Despite this, Killer 7 is hailed as a cult classic and a unique piece of video game art. Enslaved, released in 2010, is a post-apocalyptic action-adventure inspired by the Chinese classic Journey to the West. It features stunning visuals, fluid parkour gameplay, and a heartfelt story about survival and friendship between two characters, Monkey and Trip. The game blends exploration, combat, and puzzle solving in a beautifully realized world. Its narrative and character development are standout features. Despite positive reviews, Enslaved didn't sell well, partly due to poor marketing and an unclear genre identity. It launched in a crowded market of bigger franchises and didn't capture enough attention. The emotional story and slower pacing also limited its appeal to action-focused players. Additionally, it suffered from a lack of replay value and innovative features. Though a commercial failure, it's appreciated today for its storytelling and visuals. Mirror's Edge, released in 2008, is a first-person parkour action game set in a sleek, dystopian city. You play Faith, a runner, who delivers messages while evading a totalitarian regime. The game's clean, minimalist aesthetic and smooth parkour mechanics deliver a unique gameplay experience focused on momentum and fluid movement. The story explores themes of freedom and surveillance, why it failed. Despite its innovative gameplay and style, Mirror's Edge struggled commercially. The first-person perspective combined with platforming was challenging for some players. The story was criticized for being thin and the game short. Limited marketing and a niche concept didn't attract a broad audience, especially compared to other action games at the time. Though it didn't sell well, it gained a dedicated fanbase and led to a sequel years later. Jet Set Radio, released in 2000, is a vibrant action game focused on inline skating and graffiti tagging in a futuristic Tokyo. Its cel-shaded graphics and funky soundtrack made it a visual and audio standout. The gameplay mixes fast-paced skating, style, and exploration, with an energetic, rebellious spirit. The colorful art style and unique gameplay mechanics set it apart from anything else at the time. Why it failed? Jet Set Radio was innovative but niche, with gameplay that didn't appeal to all gamers. Its quirky style and focus on graffiti culture were unfamiliar to many, limiting mass appeal. It was also released on the Dreamcast, which struggled commercially. Marketing was limited, and it didn't achieve blockbuster sales despite critical praise. It's since become a cult classic, celebrated for its originality and style. Psychonauts 2, released in 2021, is a sequel that expanded on the original's creative world with updated graphics, refined gameplay, and a heartfelt story about mental health and acceptance. It retains the humor and imaginative level design, diving even deeper into the psychology of characters. Why it failed? While Psychonauts 2 received critical acclaim and moderate sales, it still struggled to break into mainstream success due to the niche appeal of platformers and the long gap since the first game. The game's unique style and storytelling were praised, but it didn't have the marketing muscle to reach broader audiences immediately. It remains a beloved game among fans, but not a blockbuster hit. Deus Ex: Invisible War, released in 2003, is a cyberpunk RPG sequel that builds on the original's themes of conspiracy, technology, and choice. It offers open-ended gameplay with multiple approaches to missions and a deep narrative about human augmentation and ethics. The game mixes shooting, stealth, and RPG elements with player-driven decisions. Invisible War received mixed reviews due to downgraded graphics, simplified gameplay mechanics, and less impactful story compared to the original Deus Ex. Fans of the first game felt disappointed by the changes. The game's release on multiple platforms led to inconsistent performance and bugs. Its marketing was also weak, and it failed to capture the magic that made the original a cult classic. Despite this, it still has a niche fanbase appreciating its story and ambition. MadWorld, released in 2009 for the Nintendo Wii, was a black and white, ultra-violent beat-em-up with comic book visuals and an over-the-top tone. You play as Jack, a chainsaw-wielding contestant in a death game show. The game's aesthetic was bold, using only black, white, and splashes of red blood, creating a graphic novel vibe. Gameplay focuses on brutal, creative kills, using environmental hazards and improvised weapons. Its mature content was contrasted by absurd commentary from fictional announcers, making it feel like a parody of violent entertainment. It was daring, loud, and unlike anything else on the family-friendly Wii console. Why it failed? Despite critical praise for innovation and style, MadWorld failed commercially. The biggest issue was its release on the Wii, a console largely marketed to casual and family gamers. Its extreme violence and mature themes didn't fit the demographic. Nintendo didn't promote it, and many retailers didn't stock it prominently due to its content. Moreover, motion controls weren't ideal for the precise timing some combos required, frustrating some players. Sega's lackluster marketing didn't help either, even though it was an artistic statement and cult favorite. Its platform choice and lack of audience alignment doomed it from the start. Released in 2012, Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning was a sprawling RPG crafted by a dream team. Ara Salvatore wrote the lore. Todd McFarlane designed the world, and Ken Rolston of Elder Scrolls fame led development. It offered vibrant visuals, deep customization, flexible class systems, and a fast-paced combat system, something rare in open-world RPGs. The world was rich, with dozens of hours of quests, loot, and exploration. It managed to combine the depth of Western RPGs with the slickness of an action game. Critics praised its combat, lore, and value for money. Despite selling over 1 million copies, Amalur wasn't enough to recoup the massive development costs, estimated at over $60 million. The game was tied to a now infamous financial disaster. 38 Studios, owned by ex-baseball player Curt Schilling, defaulted on a massive loan from the state of Rhode Island. The controversy buried the game's momentum and led to the studio's bankruptcy. Marketing was strong, but overshadowed by the scandal. In hindsight, many blame the poor timing, lack of brand recognition, and financial mismanagement for its failure. The game has since been remastered, but never reached the audience it truly deserved. And there you have it, to 20 incredible games that had the heart, the vision, and the creativity to be legends. But for one reason or another, they just couldn't catch a break. Whether it was bad marketing, poor timing, or simply being ahead of their time. Each of these titles deserved far more love than they ever got. But here's the thing. A game's worth isn't measured only by its sales. These games pushed boundaries, told unforgettable stories, and gave us worlds we still think about years later. If you've played any of them, you know exactly what I mean. And if you haven't, maybe now's the perfect time to discover what you missed. If you made it to the end, you're not just a casual viewer, you're someone who understands what gaming is really about. So let me know in the comments, which of these 20 games do you think was the biggest injustice? Or did we miss one that deserves to be on this list? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because next time we're diving even deeper into the forgotten gems of gaming history. Thanks for watching, and keep playing the games that matter, even if the world forgot them.